Good evening and welcome to Blackjack Sports. My name is Jackson Gerke, and alongside with your host, Blake Lundberg.
Whoop, whoop!
It's Tuesday, and we never broadcast on Tuesdays, Blake.
No, we
the
don't.
The reason why we are broadcasting on Tuesday today is because Blake had to do some stuff yesterday, and he had some stuff to handle, and he had to do some stuff yesterday, and he was too busy yesterday, and that's why we are broadcasting today. And but yeah, I was definitely waiting to be broadcast back on the air with you. It's after a long break, and the reason why I say that is because Blake was busy and he had stuff to do on that day. Is the reason why we are broadcasting on Tuesday, and here we are, Blake, back in the broadcast booth on a day that we never broadcast you with, but here we are, Blake. Let's get right to it. I hope you're having a great Thanksgiving break so far, and hope that every family and friends out there around the world who are watching us
All right.
are safe and sound from their break. So let's get right to it, Blake. Let's start off with some college football weekend.
Blake. Wait. First, Jack.
I want to tell you, Blake.
Okay.
Great for college football.
Okay.
This past weekend, the days after Thanksgiving break.
What about Thanksgiving?
Blake, it has been so great talking to you live back in the studio.
No question.
What is up, Blake, and what's happening these days?
Jackson, I feel like we can't jump into sports before we talk about the delicious food we ate at Thanksgiving. I want you to start and tell me, what meal did you have, delicious meal and nutritious meal did you have for Thanksgiving? Tell me about it, Jack.
So when I was having Thanksgiving with my family, I had a bunch of mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, and some turkey with some gravy and green beans and everything. It was so good stuff.
Brown gravy or white gravy?
It was, I believe it was brown gravy.
It's the only way. The only way to do
that
it.
That stuff to me was so good, and I can't believe I had some good old Thanksgiving stuffing and all that stuff that I had. All that Thanksgiving food really made me hungry, and that was some kind of food that I ever had as a holiday tradition. We did praise the whole family before that, as our family did, as always did. But I can tell you, Blake, that our Thanksgiving tradition in our family was great, and the food at our house was so good. Blake, what about your Thanksgiving? Do you know what you did on your break and what you did with your family?
Jack, not a lot different than yours. Turkey, ham. I don't think we had the mashed potatoes. I'm a little upset about that. Sour about not having mashed potatoes. A little jealous and envious of your mashed potatoes and your brown gravy. But we had it at my grandma's house. Great times. Now, Jackson, on that same day, we talked about this last week. We had 3 great football games on Thanksgiving. Talk to me, man. How about those Cowboys? Come on.
Yeah, how about them? Those Cowboys crushed those Redskins. And let me tell you, those Cowboys are for real. As they go on to Minnesota this coming Thursday, a week from right now, they are traveling up to Minnesota and taking on those Vikings.
Minnesota.
Against the 2 great teams who are in first place in their divisions. That's going to be a game to watch out for, and that's where we stand right now for the Cowboys.
So wait, Jackson. So Minnesota's leading their division, right?
Correct.
Dallas leads their division.
Correct.
Who are our other 2 division leaders right now?
Okay, so right now, I believe it's Minnesota. So it is Minnesota, and you got Dallas, who's leading in the NFC East.
Okay.
Minnesota in the North.
Okay.
And Atlanta in the South.
Ooh, hot Atlanta.
And you got, believe it or not, the Raiders are leading in the AFC West.
Yeah.
And you got, I believe Houston is 1 game up ahead of Indianapolis in the AFC South.
Surprising as well.
In the AFC North, it's a tie between Baltimore and Pittsburgh. And then in the AFC East, of course, it's the New England Patriots and Tom Brady. So that's where we are for the NFL standings right now.
Now, Jackson, can I tell our whole audience that you just did that without looking at anything? That was all Jackson's brilliant memory, man. I'm telling you, I tell the fans all the time, I got one of the best co-hosts in the nation, and no doubt probably the smartest in the nation. Jackson, you're the man. Most surprising out of all those teams, and you said this already, has got to be the Raiders. They're doing it for Al, man. How about this? I mean, listen, they got another win, but I'm going to tell you what, the Panthers put up a dogfight, and what a game. What a game that was, man, in Oakland. Did you watch any of that game?
I did not, but I did see the highlights, and when you saw that last play on fourth down, when the Panthers tried to convert, that is the play that the Panthers should have had, because what you saw there, and the reason why the Panthers aren't doing so well is because they did not play well in the fourth quarter. That's one reason why the Panthers aren't doing so well. It's one reason why they are not playing so well, and that is one play towards the end of the fourth quarter, close to there, on fourth down, where the Panthers tried to convert. It did not work out. So the Raiders, and all of a sudden, the Raiders' defense responds and takes them down. That's how that game ended, and that's how the Panthers ended when they were in that game.
Jack, the black hole in Oakland is a dangerous place to be. You never want to have your defense, the defense back your offense up in the black hole. And I'm going to tell you what, the Raiders are the real deal. But, Jackson, the Panthers' record to me does not show the quality of their team. I think they've got a quality team. Their record is less than desirable, but I still think they're a good team. I think this year is probably over with, and we're looking to next year. But I think we've got good things to come next year with the Panthers. What are your thoughts, man?
I think so, Blake. I mean, I don't know the rest of their remaining schedule for their for the team overall, but what I do know is that they're headed to Seattle this weekend in a very wild place to play. So the Panthers do have to play another road game, as far as I know, according to their schedule, and you now have to go up against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks over there in their house, and that's when that is one thing to look up on their schedule for the Panthers, and I think that's where they have to go next, and it's definitely a primetime game, so that's where we are for the Panthers, and that's where they have to go next.
Jackson, let's talk about this. So, you're right. The Panthers are good. They'll be fine. They'll be good next year. You can't win every year. Let's talk about college football. We had a lot happen this weekend. We had a huge Ohio State and Michigan game that determined the fate of, it looks like, Michigan, and therefore they're most likely not going to be in the college football playoffs. Ohio State will be, even though they're not going to the conference championship. There's some weird stuff going on right now, and there was a huge call that Jim Harbaugh and Big Blue was not excited about. Tell our fans what happened.
Yeah, so from what I've heard, he got fined like $10,000 for that aggressive call, and that was not a good call for his Michigan Wolverines, because that would definitely cause him to be suspended or what have you in this game. But he was fined $10,000 for millions of dollars for that kind of call, and that caused him and his program to go the wrong direction, and that's where Harbaugh stands right now.
Jackson, yeah, listen, 4th and 1. Harbaugh thought his Michigan Wolverines stood him up on 4th and 1. Had the call been like he wanted it, game over, Michigan wins, and I don't know what would have happened in the playoffs. Alabama wins soundly against Auburn. They're the real deal, Jack. It looks like Ohio State is going to stay at number 2. Clemson, man, Jack, can we even talk about what happened with Clemson and South Carolina? Boy, was I wrong about how this game would turn out.
And,
yes, you were.
And let me tell you.
Come on.
My dad couldn't even watch that game because
Jackson.
Because they were losing badly.
My Gamecocks.
The touchdown that you saw when that game played out is in the third quarter when they got one of their wide receivers or running backs to score in the end zone for a touchdown.
Oh.
That was their only play and drive that they had in that game, and that was very ugly. If you are a huge fan of that fan base, that is not the way you wanted it to end that season rival finale right now, especially coming into a close, especially when you're going into a bowl game, is what I know from this program. But yeah, Clemson did play well at home, and they blowed out this rival
Yeah.
very badly. It's definitely tough to be a other side of that fan base kind of fan for that fan base, and that team looked so good. They will be in the playoff for sure because they beat that rivalry so badly in that game.
Jackson, it was really tough to watch that game. And I'm going to tell you what, if you were able to stay at that game as a Carolina fan the entire time, you're a true fan. Our Gamecocks are struggling, Jackson. They need us. They will be in a bowl game. So we'll get to cheer them on one more time. They've got 3 weeks of extra practice. It's not going to be a great bowl, but we'll see what happens with that. This week, Jackson, Alabama conference championship games. Alabama and Florida, an SEC championship game. I don't think Florida's got a chance to get near Alabama, although they're 15th in the nation. Clemson plays an unranked Virginia Tech in their championship game. I think there's no doubt about it. They're going to breeze through that game as well. And then you've got Wisconsin and Penn State. Any thoughts on those 3 games, Jack?
Yes, so Florida that you just mentioned, they have a quarterback, but their quarterback has been struggling because of due to injuries on their football team. So I think their offensive line and their defense is pretty good, but they're struggling with their quarterback due to injuries. So that's where we are for that team. But as far as Alabama goes, you got the 2 strong Jalen Hurts and their best defensive players and offensive line under Nick Saban. That's going to be a pretty big, easy win for Alabama. And to your point to Virginia Tech versus Clemson, I think Clemson's going to win this one pretty easily. For Virginia Tech, slightly going to have a chance to try to knock down that Clemson Orange. It's not going to be easy, but I think they can do it. But we'll see what happens. But Penn State and Wisconsin is definitely a interesting game to me because those 2 teams have never been to the Big Ten championship game over there in Indianapolis. So I think that's going to be a heck of a game to watch for that one when that game's played out. And you forgot to mention one other game in the Pac-12. How about Colorado versus Washington? Those Washington Huskies trying to knock out Colorado to be in the college football playoff, but you're going up against Colorado, and that's a game
right.
you forgot to mention.
You're right. And if Washington wins this game, Jackson, is Washington going to be... Are they going to win this game and be the first team sitting on the outside? Will Washington hold to number 5 and be the first team sitting on the outside? Or are they going to move into the top 4? What's going to happen in this game?
It depends on what position they're in. I think if they win, they could be in the top 4, depending on what's going to change. But if they lose, that could be a different story.
Because they'll
be in the outside if they lose, but I think if they win, they're actually going to be in the top 4 if they can do well.
I think you're right, Jack, and I think that puts Wisconsin, if they win, number 5 sitting out. I think you're right, and there's going to be a lot of discussion about that, Jack. That's a lot to talk about. Hey, man, it's so good to broadcast with you again, Jack, on this rainy, which is a great thing to be saying that, Charleston Day, Tuesday. Jack, great talking to you. Sorry we didn't broadcast yesterday. I know our fans are upset about that, but you look great, you sound great. And you're sharp as a tack, man. Great broadcasting with you.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
See you, Jack.